The January 6th committee has reissued a subpoena to a Republican congressman who lost a bid for the Senate last week after Trump rescinded his endorsement. House lawmakers are looking to talk to Alabama's Mo Brooks, who spoke, of course, at that Stop the Steal rally from the Ellipse just hours before the insurrection, and he did so while wearing bulletproof armor. Brooks, a longtime Trump loyalist, had the support of the former president until late last year, when he made the mistake of saying it was time to move on from the 2020 election. Following those comments, Trump he turned on the congressman, pulling his endorsement and backing his primary opponent instead. After refusing to cooperate with the January 6th committee previously, Brooks now reportedly says he is not only willing to speak to the panel, but would prefer to testify publicly. He was beaten in a GOP Senate primary earlier this week. A federal judge has pushed back the trial for several members of the Proud Boys who were charged with attacking the U.S. Capitol amid concerns that revelations from the January 6th committee's televised hearings could taint the jury pool. Defense attorneys for several of the men argued that their clients wouldn't be guaranteed a fair trial by an impartial jury so soon after these public hearings. They also voiced fears that they would not have enough time to review potential new evidence that could be released by the congressional panel in the coming weeks. The trial, originally scheduled for August 8th, will be delayed until mid-December. Joining us now, congressional reporter for The Guardian, Hugo Lowell, who thankfully has been a fixture here on Way Too Early throughout the January 6th hearings. Hugo, great to see you again. Let's start there with the Proud Boys. How significant is it, in your estimation, that federal prosecutors are postponing the trial? And what other impact might that decision have on other trials connected to the Capitol riot?
I think it is significant, right? It pushes everything back now. The timeline's going into 2023. I mean, the Judge Kelly said yesterday that the trial for the Proud Boys in the seditious conspiracy case is now not going to happen until December at the very earliest, as you said. So this is going to push all of those seditious conspiracy-related cases back into next year. I think what has happened here is that the congressional investigation and the public hearings being held by the Select Committee has collided with the Justice Department's criminal investigation into the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the other militia groups that actually stormed the Capitol. And this has arisen because of how these two investigations have been operating, right? The Justice Department has very strict rules about its evidence-gathering process in a criminal investigation, but a congressional committee can issue subpoenas and gather witness depositions and make these transcripts whenever they like. And so what the Justice Department has found is that the Select Committee has these thousands of transcripts, and when they make that public, the federal prosecutors and the defendants will worry that that might taint the jury pool. And this is the extraordinary situation you have today.
This afternoon, of course, the January 6th committee is set to hold its fifth public hearing and probably the last one for a few weeks. We know broadly it's going to be about Trump's efforts to pressure the Department of Justice. Hugo, what will you be looking for this afternoon?
Well, the one thing I will be looking for is a mention of presidential pardons being sought by Republican members of Congress, not least Scott Perry, who was involved, who managed to get himself involved in Trump's pressure campaign on DOJ. I think this has been teased from the very first hearing when the Vice Chair Liz Cheney said this was coming up in a future hearing, and no one really knew when. But it sounds like that will be today, the moment we've all been waiting for. But the hearing today is going to be more widely focused on Trump's abuse, I guess, of the presidency to try and bend the DOJ to his will, and to get DOJ to endorse his claims of election fraud and open investigations into elections in battleground states that he lost. And it's going to be like a greatest hits of everything that Trump was trying to get DOJ to do. Like, he was trying to coerce top officials like Jeffrey Rosen, Richard Donoghue to sign on to letters and send them to Georgia and other states. And when they refused, he threatened to fire them. And he tried to introduce this loyalist, Jeffrey Clark, to the top position at Justice. And so I think we're going to see all of that today. Jeff Rosen and Richard Donoghue, of course, are both testifying publicly.
And Hugo, briefly, the committee suggested that there could be at least 2 more hearings, but wouldn't happen until July. Give us the reason for the postponement and what other topics they want to cover.
Well, the reason they're giving publicly, at least, is that they're getting this deluge of new information. It's not exactly clear how much that actually factored into the decision making. But either way, the result of this is that we are going to get the final 2 hearings and possibly more now in mid-July. The House returns after its recess July 12. So for all the Congress watchers out there, I'd say you could probably mark your calendars that week. That we might get more hearings. Chairman Thompson said yesterday there might be more than 2. So we've definitely got the 2 ones that were scheduled coming up. So that's going to be the hearing on the Proud Boys and the other extremist groups and Stop the Steal, as well as what Trump was doing in the White House during the Capitol attack.
All right. Well, Hugo Lowell, we really appreciate it. And of course, we will have complete coverage here on MSNBC of the hearing this afternoon.